Minister of Finance who know a lot of facts. I'm also constrained not to be talking too much. So I choose not to. I think probably I've never gone to a radio station in the whole year. But it burns me when I see the public, and one of the things that hurt me on the 60 billion when I called and I was angry on OKFM, because people were building on lies, destroying the country. And I know, as an economist, just from a logical standpoint, without any evidence that it's not possible, the thing they're talking about. But they're talking about the thing that made me angry, they were having that conversation in a way that it was true and factual, and they saw it. And people in Bapolu County were hearing that garbage. I'm like, Jesus, is this happening in this country? So I got angry and called. It's the same kind of thing here. Harmonization is protecting the poor. The people who are losing money are making $3,000 US already. They are protected because they're in US dollar. You take 400 from there and give it to an immigration man. How is it that that man is being affected? That immigration man benefiting. The other man already way up above the poverty line. You know that one. Anybody making 4,000, 3,000, it's just a matter of say, oh, but nobody will tell you making 4,000 to a month, you be complaining here. In Liberia, in our economy? No way. You should manage your living standard. When we harmonize your beer bottle. Harmonize the number, that's it. Reduce it. Okay? The other thing I want to say, the other question about clarifying, when I went to the legislature, people came up and say, the administration employed, there was Senator Nyobi Kanga. 14,000 Liberian, the government put 14,000 people on the payroll. You know what 14,000 is? That's half of SKD. I said, this new government put half of SKD in government? Where that one coming from? It's a lie. The government met around 67 to 80,000 human beings on the payroll. Simple. In fact, I was a consultant. Morris should not be asking me that question because Morris know I was a consultant Minister of Finance and we were talking about the wage bill at that time. Now, how can he did that tell me I know that who on the payroll? Then he asked me that kind of question there. Yeah, for me to embarrassing to everybody. 67,000 people already. They're telling people that, oh, there were 45,000 people on the payroll? No. This administration here centrally, between the data we're looking at, because we're cutting the check for paying people. When you put all that higher together, all the check, the difference, these people did the analysis and bring it to me, the difference between January and today, as we're looking at, we're accounting for around 4,000 people in central government. Now, some of the confusion they say is that, oh, but then what's about MPA? They are told and say, oh, but MPA not on the Ministry of Finance. They're not central government. Oh, okay. But we're talking about, okay, when you put MPA there, you put maritime there, you put all the whole government there, you still will not get to the government hiring 7,000 people. Clear cut. Many of the new, most of the government is still occupied by people the government met. 80%. That's it. Even in Ministry of Finance. People can accuse me, oh, they say you signed me. My office, just as I met it, that Jai stayed there. The people who serving me food, I know how they got there. I'm Murray, he will tell you, he knows some other people that stay there. They don't want to bring my food. So that's the point there. So it's not true, yeah? It's not true. The president made a large wage bill, so he cleaned it up to provide money for the poor people. I beg you. Okay, the other question about agenda, CDC people. No, let me tell you this clear. The reason why the narrative becomes bitter is this. CDC, UP ran the country for 12 years. They lost the election to CDC. CDC is running now. No, it will be impossible for, it is stupid. Even the president tell you, not possible to tell you, say, you be government do nothing. That one a lie. Nobody will tell you that one. Anybody tell you that one, they don't get sense. It's not possible. There are a lot of gains that were accomplished under the Unity Party government. That's fine. They did a lot of things. But they also did not accomplish many other things. That's fine. What we are saying is that when you go to power and you have your chance for 12 years and you got the country where it is, you sit back and allow the other people their time, constructively engage with them to change the country. I was an economist, CDC man working in the Unity Party government. He was custom commissioner. I was there as Minister of Finance. I had access to sensitive data. I helped drafted President Sirleaf's annual message that she delivered. I wrote the counter, drafted it for CDC. That's it. I'm a royal plane. Praise the president's speech goes so. Where were Mobile Malu and Samurai Wokoli? Yes, they counter for that thing that she went say. That I wrote there in the opposition. I never came on radio, never participated in protests to condemn the president, never leaked from Ministry of Finance. That's what we call patriotic citizenship. That's what you say, I won't work for my country. I won't make my name through my country. It doesn't matter whether I CDC or UP, but I can write the constraints analysis. I can help Minister Connor. We can do. That's the spirit that we expect. President George Manuel Weah, who was the biggest opposition in the country, who could shut Manasali down, he said, I will be peace ambassador to you. That because of his constructive engagement, that's how we now decided to move in that direction. So the man pacified governance under there. Yeah, Maluden was talking. In fact, I remember one time when Maluden talked about Ellen's step-down campaign, the president shut it down. The political leader shut it down and said, you're going to stupid. He said, election come with consequences. If the Liberian people gave Ellen Johnson the power, they would deal with her until she changed. Nobody will move her government from power. You're abolished all that food in the call, Ellen step down. The president, the political leader of the opposition party, constructively engaged throughout that time. He had the ability. You think if anybody got the ability to shut and got it down, nobody knows who that is. What is George Weah? George Weah, singularly as an opposition leader, could have moved Liberia to war. He could have shut the place down with all the stuff that was happening there. He didn't do so. So he should be given the same chance to govern. If you don't elect what he's doing, there is a way. You go to election, you make your case to the Liberian people, but you don't disrupt. Okay, yeah. You like Dillon. Like we went to election and Mr. Dillon won his election. That is how you do it. Even though we're going to take it from him back when that vacation he on. Okay, nobody stopped the other people on Macintosh. Nobody stopped. I know. In fact, the people who stopped Macintosh under the government. Macintosh complaint is that the previous government didn't give him the chance. So if anybody stopped Macintosh, that the old government, because when you ask him a complaint, he'll tell you, we are the one who helping him. Just the other day, we put him on a conference call with the president of the African Development Bank. He was on that call talking. He's been working with me and Minister McGill to find opportunity for him. We are the ones who are helping Liberians. He complained that the last government deprived him, so that the correction there. The correction continuing. Yeah. Drugs. Oh, yeah, look, to be honest with you, the country needs all of the help it can get with drugs. So I'm not aware of the letter you wrote to the Ministry of Health. But we'll follow up on that. Yeah. The country is designing now, the Ministry of Health is designing what they call a drug revolving fund because of the drug situation. We have evidence that say the Liberian people want to pay for drugs. When we went to open the hospital quite recently, we asked the people and they said, yeah, we won't pay for drugs. So I was impressed to solve it, but that was practical. The question there, everybody agreed that they won't pay. So what that means is that we can find a sustainable way to finance drugs. Everything can be free in the country. The president has made tuition free. They have made WAEC exam free. There were free call there. Everything can be free in the country. At some point, somebody has to pay for something. So if tuition free, then maybe when you're here, you go to the hospital, you can pay a small drug for that tuition thing. That kind of thing. So the drug revolving fund concept is being developed so that the money can be available. The government will invest inside, but it will make sure that we have money all the time to supply drugs. So we look forward to some of your contribution there. Then you talk about dual citizen signing, right? Right. Yeah, I think... Yeah. You can do it. Yeah. Okay. The dual citizen bill. I think that man will handle that one. Yeah.
So 2/3 of both houses signed off on 3 of the 6 propositions that were. Those 3 propositions that were signed off on the dual citizenship issue, the issue of reduction in our tenures, that is both representatives and senators and then the president, and the issue of changing the date of the elections. As a matter of fact, we have elections in the core of the rainy season, and so we're shifting it a little. So those three propositions have been signed off on, and they are going to be going to referendum. After the referendum, based on what the people say or agree on, then it's going to be passed into law accordingly.
Huh? The third question.
Let me just comment briefly on the question raised by Perry.
Oh, yeah.
On the presidential travel.
Okay.
One of the obligations for sovereign state is to engage in foreign relations. And it holds true for us as a post-conflict developing country. Liberia needs to have a strategic presence in almost all of the international fora so they can make the case for developing our country. Now, meetings are held at three levels. One at the expert level, where you have the subject matter expert that will come and then soften the grounds, look at the numbers, and then at the end of the day, you're going to have it at the council level. There you have the ministers to validate what was being proffered by the experts. And then you have it also at the summit level, where the head of state will come and decide on that. So we need to have a strategic presence in almost all of the international fora because it is more pressing as a post-conflict developing country. So when in some gullible segments of our population, people say the president is traveling more, you see all the benefits now. We have heightened engagements by the international community, by all of our development partners, bilateral, multilateral partners. They're now coming in to see what is it that we can do together. There's a partnership that is going on, and I just wanted to drive that point. Thank you.
The minister will come out and will answer all the questions.
Yeah. Okay, so when the president traveled, the government will pay. This president has reduced government spending the most than any president in the history of the country. Look at the fiscal outturn. When you look at the budgets under the Ministry of State and the budget that this president has, he slashed everything. So as a president, the president budget is so tight that me as Minister of Finance, I'm under pressure. Because there are many presidential prerequisites that we look at in the last 6 years that were available, that he decided he's slashing it, and the consequence is that there's just very little for him, to be honest. So a private jet will carry a lot of ministers, government officials. The government will pay for that. But by the time you do all that analysis, the president yearly cost still falls below because it was just high and he brought it down. Houses, nobody asked me about the president building because the president is a millionaire. And I will turn over to Eugene, who was with the president when the man started these constructions long before the election. He will talk about that. I'm aware. The man building already up by the time he go into inauguration and somebody saying it is the president. I mean, it's the same thing. Even me. I told you I was making $7,000 a month for administration finance. I started my house on Marshall Road since 2014 Ebola year. Somebody accusing me.
You finish it now.
I went to the African Development Bank where the people put money in my car. Look at that guy. I was scared to see what it was for me. I working. And I get money to build my house just because I become minister. So it means that I become minister, my life should be on hold. My legitimate earnings must do nothing until I leave. Is that the assumption? No. It's not fair to anybody because we have. I said, that's it. We've made money. $7,000 every year. That's about $84,000 times. It can't build me a house. So I'll tell you what, Eugene to.
Thanks a lot. And I just want to repeat the apologies that were expressed earlier for the timing because he waited so long.
Yeah.
The minister had other engagements that went overboard with our colleagues from ULA. Kune got to take some of the blame for this.
Yeah.
But it was an important engagement, like the one we are having here today. And the fact that you stayed and you remain to interact says a lot about your desire to see improvement in the country. So we'd like to be thankful for that. Minister Twa asked me, to comment on the issue of the president building his houses as it's being so rumored. In fact, there are instances when we go into international conferences the same matter comes about. Now, the president was inaugurated in January, February. By March, the picture of his property came out. I mean, who can build? It's a 16 villa place. Yeah. Not 43, but it's still a beautiful place. It's investment. And the reason I think Toy asked me because I was involved when the president. First, let's go back to history. When Joshua was playing for IE, after he got recruited to go to Cameroon, in 1988, where he lives now, he acquired that property from Archie Bernard. Where he lives now, 1988, he's 53. So 88, he was how many years old? He was a teenager. And the first thing he did with the money he got was to buy property from Archie Bernard. And he started right away to develop it. That's the house is in right now as we speak. And then, when he was still in opposition, I remember we went to Baptist Seminary to purchase the land. He bought it, and then there was encroachment, so it was a whole big deal. And then we made it a football field. He started the construction before he became senator. The contracts are there. We have adduced it to the president. I'm happy Mr. Perry is here. Because as a former journalist myself, there is an obligation on the part of journalists too. You are the middleman between the public and the government. If there is a rumor, he took office in January, by February, March, 2 months. Nobody can build houses faster than here in America. But even yet, nobody can build that thing in 2 months. So you check, when did the property start? Who the contractor? When did he acquire the land? It's just coincidental. If he had lost, that property would have still been there. He won, and then by March, it was up. So somebody wants to tell me that in 2 months he built that place. And then the property on 9th Street that he's been owning forever. He started redeveloping in 2016. I remember, though I was a minister myself, he said, my man, I'm trying to face that 9th Street plan. I want to break it down and make it different. 2016, we had a conversation. And the work started. His neighbors seen it happening. Well, it's easy now because of social media. It goes back to the information age. We have the citizens journalists. Social media can be a force for good, but a lot of times in Liberia it's a force for negativity. So somebody takes a picture of his property that he's been owning forever, that he's redeveloping, and say, oh, he used the government money. But 2016, he was not the president when he started to construct this. So it's unfair to him. It's unfair to him, and I always call on the journalists. We have a free system. Minister Toy, you asked about the private jet. Let me give you an example. If we're not saving money, tell me. I was a minister in the past government. Okay, a trip we made to South Africa. I think it was one of the former president's last major foreign trip to South Africa, where the delegation lives were about 33 persons. Even now, you can check for a minister to ride business class on SAA, to fly from Monrovia on Kenya to Ghana, from Ghana to Johannesburg, on SAA business class would be at least $9,000 per person for business class. If you have, say, 10 persons on that plane, 10 times 9, 90,000 just for the ministers. Then security will have to have at least 3 in business class. So 90,000 plus 3 times 9 again, 27,000 is going to be 100. And you rent a plane for they say 17, we pay far less than that. Don't mind the people. The other man calculated, he said he know math. He need to learn geography too. He said from Monrovia to Tokyo, the president rode private jet, and he calculated the hours and he came to 3 million. The person didn't know math and didn't know geography. No, we have to debunk these things. Now, you say it's easy now because of the internet for people to spread lies faster. So if I'm just calculating a particular trip we're going to 117,000 plus an additional 20 persons at least. So even if the 20 persons went economy and they pay maybe 2,000 each, 20 times 2, another 40,000. If we have rendered one jet for 6 hours to go, 6 hours to come, we'll pay maybe around 50,000 for the entire trip. So in the long run, it's cheaper. So the fact that you see a private jet doesn't mean it's more expensive. And as journalists, we have a responsibility. Every quarter of the year, the Ministry of Finance, by law, has to publish what we call a fiscal LRTN report. The money you spend, how much you spend, what you spend it on. It's published on their website. So you go check foreign travel for the president, how much was spent. You compare to 2015, how much was spent. Simple. You compare to 24. It's easy to make an informed decision. So there's nothing hidden in this government. There's nothing hidden. So it is transparently done. And the fact that the president has to travel, there's somebody who did an analysis. Each trip versus the benefit, the cost of the trip versus the benefit. Somebody said Japan. The president did not go to Japan in no private jet. He flew with British Airways. Yeah, but you ran out in your Sonny. Yeah. Very. Yeah, you put it there. So all the people know the man went with private jet to Japan and they calculated hours. Who would spend $3 million just to go to one country? It's not, and then people believe it. And people believe it wrongly. The president took commercial. He was coming to the States. They said private jet again. He just left the UN. Oh, he spent at least 24 hours flying in the plane. This is somebody who doesn't like flying, but these are the obligations of the presidency. Sure. The president was invited to Russia. We cut it down, it will be expensive. We send a small delegation, a vice president. We make these decisions every day, the Minister of Finance. Visits by the president, visits that could have brought benefits to the country, sometimes we cut it off because the president has a limit of how much he can spend for foreign travel. And it's in the budget, it's written, it's there, you can go and check. Check the Ministry of Finance website, the fiscal LRTN report, the auditor reports from the Ministry of Finance. So these things are available, but it's also will not be seen if you don't want to see it. So let's be fair. This man owned properties before. I estimated his worth in 1985. I did an interview and I asked him, I said, how much are you worth? He took me around his properties in New York that he owns. He has properties in Liberia, in Miami, several properties. He has properties that are making money. In Abidjan, the other time we went to see the place he had that is under rent. So he has always been a progressive person. And this is how almost single-handedly he funded CDC, and then he supported CDC for several years. Yes, with caution. He's not being an extravagant person. So to refurbish his own property has become a problem in Liberia. There are others, and the minister was talking about people, are new ministers who made $20,000, and today they can't even start pimping. Because they misuse their money. But no, seriously, there are other, I won't call names, but for now, as a minister in the past government, I was earning around $7,500 every month. Today, I make $4,200 because the president cut all the ministers' pay. Any minister tell you he makes more than that, they will be lying to you. It is public. So we got to cut first before some of the civil servants. So it's not that people are, and today I don't get gas anymore. Scratch card. We cut all from the budget because we want to accede to the austerity measures that should happen. So these things are evidential in documentation. Let's review them. You can criticize. Somebody was talking about the government policy, why we want to spend money, we make road a priority and not agriculture. That's a debate that should be held. That's a legitimate debate. But to come and say, oh, the government, people steal, to steal now, what the money to steal? Look at the budget, it's bare boom. The minister struggles to pay salary. Sometimes to meet the target. I think our wage every month is around $25 million every month just to pay salary. And sometimes you see the delay because the revenue collector, no other place to get money, doesn't come on time or enough to pay the civil servants. And then we explain to them, people jump on the street. We have an economic situation and we will be the first to admit it. But are you doing anything to fix it? Yes. And these are the measures that he's just articulated. Yeah. The steps we're taking in austerity, the steps we're taking for growth, the steps we're taking to bring down inflation. and these steps will pay out, as we go. By December, January, February, we see the reality. We have a slump now, but it's not a permanent fixture. It's a temporary situation that, based on the measures and policy measures that have been taken, will change in the short run. Thanks a lot.
Sure. Look, these things are very important. Recently, you will not ask the question, but so I will ask it for you. Somebody. No, hold on. I want to say something to say that because the person, corruption, this, that. So I asked the question. Give me the evidence. I was in one recent chat today. Anytime you ask for the evidence, and you see the discussion, there is no evidence to substantiate, but there is still the talk. So when I ask for the evidence, I say, show me the evidence of financial corruption that you know that this government is going in. He said, okay, the IMF report talk about off-budget spending. I said, off-budget spending, that the evidence you bring against the government? When somebody die in the election, in the house, under the
But somebody
when somebody die, and you budget for them, and they say you must go for election, where you take the money for? That off budget. So I told them, say, now we can start budgeting for people dying. I told them, say, no, don't do that budget. I said, no, because you know how many by-election we've had? This is something that we need plan for. So you take salary money and run to by-election. So let the Liberian people know when they say you can't win the war. You fight the election commission to bring. They say, the minister, you won't get the money. The minister own the money out. Democracy, he won't provide money for neck. But that money to pay people, we're not in the budget or the person die because we need budget for death. But then you can't do both. You either have to accept that you got to do some off budget to do some things, but you can say whole election, but don't do off budget. It's not possible. So those are the kind of things that you talk about. Is there not evidence there? The other thing is that they say, you have to donor money. I said, you see, former Finance Minister Boyman Kamara took $2 million that our minister put back for AFDB. When King became minister, AFDB said, Minister, if you don't put that money back, the project will stop. That when I in the budget, and when I took it from there, that salary money I told, then the time to pay the post salary, that I seen who are low and say, I do not think the thing was happening before. It was a practice, not that it was correct. But the previous government used to take donor money. So that was a norm, and I didn't receive any complaint. I said I came. So under that emergency situation, we did it. But we have stopped all of that now. That's not an evidence of somebody corrupting. It's to keep government running. We pay all the poor money back. There's no corruption there. You just talk about corruption. There's no evidence. Even one diplomat told me, say, you gotta get money. People just talking on your about nothing. It's wrong. It's just because they want to delegitimize this president because somebody say he's not supposed to be president. That is the conversation there. They don't want to accept him as a president. That's what the conversation is. Because you put somebody there who will not be done, they'll be fine. They'll say, okay, they want to be president. No, I tell you, one of my friends told me when I came in 2005 with President John Weah, somebody told me, and you know the president, he said, you know John Weah more than me. I go to John Weah right now, he gave me 5,000. I play basketball with him, I eat with him. I go to him right now, he give me 5,000 that he know me. But Samuel 12, if God tell me, say, George Weah would take Liberia to New York, I would say, let Liberia stay like a garbage. You know why? Because he's not supposed to be running. He's not supposed to be a money pool running. And that man will campaign to me. I said, but then go. So that man, there are many who will never accept the president as a legitimate president. So they will find all kind of things. CBL, the government borrowed. I, as Minister of Finance, have signed my first borrowing from the central bank was $8 million, 2018-2019 budget. I signed a memorandum for the bank to credit us $8 million. Then at the close of this budget year, because of the budget difficulties relating to the budget support not coming, we went and dug hole in the central bank. I think we're still rationalizing the number, but it's around 35 million. So if you add that 8 to 35, that's how much the Weah administration owes the central bank out of the 460, probably more than that. 53 million out of the debt. We're still reconciling it. So it could be around 470, 480 million. That's it. That's the reality. And we say we're no longer going to borrow again. But that borrowing was because, obviously, to pay June salary, you know how it was tough. the revenue didn't hold up, the budget support didn't come, and so we had to dig that hole.
All right, so that's right, it's all right too.
I have a question.
Oh, so you left that side. All right, they gotta stay there. All right, hold on. I have it quiet, please. So, Mr. Sharif. Yes, sir. Mr. Boyan, Mr. Smith, Mr. Khaled, right here, and
No female.
one female, please. All right, one female, right?
The way you gravitate, you not ask questions. Sit at one place.
Please, but you can't keep moving around. All right, so please. All right, hold on. We gotta be please, hold on. We gotta the balance right here, right? So I will start with the ladies. We don't have any lady in the first round. So. We start with the Vice President for the Liberian Association, Ms. Aisha, Mrs. Howard, Ms. Jacob. No other woman here. Other three are woman. And our sister right here, that's three. Then we'll come back here, Fred Boyan. Who was there? David Smith. So we'll come back to the rest of you. All right? All right, so
225.
all right, so we start with Aisha right here.
My WhatsApp, yeah.
Please be quick.
Welcome to the team. As our finance minister, one of the things that came to my mind is the government is digging hole and covering hole. That's why it came to my mind, dig hole and cover hole. So now, how can we stop this dig hole and cover hole policies that the government has and be able to make sure that we have excess in the budget to be able to run the country more effectively so that we can have children in the street, so that we can have nurses all over the place, so that we can have the problems that we have in. And my last question, can the government also utilize the Liberians that are in America, because we feel that there are a lot of expertise here, especially in the area of finance. In this room, if you check here, there are a lot of people that are in the area of finance. Come, we will give you our voluntary services. So can you utilize all free? Thank you.
All right. Please, can we have it quiet? Let's respect one another in here, please.
I'm a healthcare provider. I don't know about free, but I'm also an entrepreneur in the space here. I have two questions. And I think it kind of relates to what she said. How can the Liberian government call or encourage investors, Liberian investors, to come back home and invest as entrepreneurs? My next question is, you talked about having money for agriculture. That is a good thing. And rice is our staple food, so we all eat rice, which is also a great thing. What is in place for looking at a bigger scale? Marijuana. I know some of us there in the room smoke marijuana, but there are also medical marijuana. Is there something in place? I know it's illegal in the country. Is it on the table to make it legal? And if so, is there part of the money in the agricultural budget to support marijuana? What are we exporting? What are we exporting and getting for medical marijuana? A lot of other countries have been trillions of dollars in that field. Can we consider it? If it is considered, what is the update? If there's anything in place for it? Thank you.
Good. All right, please, then let's.
Good, yeah.
Moving
away from the propaganda questions now and getting into the real substance. Yeah. We start going to the substance question and then me propaganda has been resolved.
Yes, that's the issue.
Yeah. Yes, thank you.
Because there, you get different information. Information minister get different. And my next question is, why is the president keeping your two ambassadors, UN indictees, Robert Shaw and Charles Brown? And the third one is, CDC is for change, for change. And it's a CDC-led government. Why is it that we have qualified people in America that are back over you talk about agriculture, and you guys can call them on board. As Akaman, Dr. Tipo Daddy, well-known economist, veteran, and what the other people? Adonai Science, Alice Coffee, all the people.
Okay. Thank you. Three powerful.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Minister Tuwe, for coming to visit us.
May we please have it quiet, please.
If you live in the United States, I know you did, and I think if you live in the United States, I mean, $5,000 a month. $5,000 a month.
Yeah.
You will not be broke.
But
you're not rich.
But you're not be broke.
You'll be able to take care of everything.
Yes.
You'll have money to do what you want to do.
Yeah.
Why is it so important in Liberia that we have people making $10,000, $15,000 a month? That's my first question.
Yeah.
My second question is, why can't we develop a policy on just using the Liberian dollar? Why we have to go with this system of US dollar and Liberian dollar? We have money. And the third question is, Mr. Minister, in the next 4 years, that is, if you're still the finance minister of Liberia, where do you expect to see the health of our economy? What is the forecast? Thank you.
Brilliant. We're getting the substance.
Yeah.
The substance are coming. The substance are coming. Well,
Liberian Ambassador to the United States, Mr. Tuwe, Honorable Mayor, you all are welcome. My question is, my question is for national food and tourism. From 2005, like me, I've been shipping to Liberia. Is how I've been making my living. And we fought all what we could do for us to come into power today. Mr. Minister, what are the mechanisms that you have in place that we, that in the diaspora, are fighting to see how best we can improve other people's lives and improve our lives in shipping, most especially when it comes to the tariff. During the early regime, most of that ship container have been around $5,000–6,000 to take back goods from the boat. But this one ferry hurry, I paid like $11,000. And these are some of the things we are going through. I'm so afraid, as I've been in Liberia, I bought 400 acre beans, and I got other stuff I was supposed to carry. But because of the tariff, I'm so afraid to ship my goods right now because I won't have that kind of money to take it from the boat. So what are you people doing to help us that will be able to carry those things to Liberia and help our people, help ourselves?
All right, we have 5, right? We'll take the next set of 5, please. We already have 5, so. All right, we'll take the other half to the other 5.
Okay.
All right, so we'll take the next 5, right?
No, this 5.
Okay. All right, so yeah, I mean, we're getting a lot of the substance coming up now. A lot that we're finished with the propaganda thing, and we're coming to the real thing now. The real men and women are asking now. So, yeah, so look, okay, metaphorically digging hole, cover hole, the challenge, the fiscal challenge. The way countries deal with challenge is that when a recession hits, you do an adjustment. So a fiscal adjustment means that some of the things we're doing, cut expenditure, reduce everything. Fiscal rules say no minister can ride business class. We already have that rule, by the way, anyway. Ministers don't ride business class in the country. So you try to do that. And then once you do that, you control spending, you'll find some money to do agriculture and all of that. But you do a lot of revenue effort. The country is in a point where we have depended a lot on external support. So we believe that the thing we call budget support is part of our revenue psychology. My argument is that some of that thing have affected our revenue effort. It's almost like when you're receiving free thing every time, you expect the free thing to be there, and you'll be a little bit lazy to make the effort. So 60 million, 50 million in the past. Last year, the budget, we got only 13 million. So that's one of the reasons why we faced the shock. Because of that, we are doing an aggressive revenue bump, whether it's real estate. Okay? Look, everybody who's supposed to build, all y'all who building houses, I ask you, who went to public way and pay for design, all that thing? No. People build, they buy land. Before you go, you got to get permit. How many persons you have paid for permit for the house you built? No. That's revenue. So right in the house here, if 20 people are bidding, we already lost our revenue in the last 10 years. Multiply it by 10. Those are the regimes that we're putting in place now. Incentives. We are cutting exemption. We said duty-free. When somebody's entitled to 200,000 privilege, duty-free privilege, and the man says, I need 700,000, how do we know? The government doesn't have the capacity to verify, and he has lost a lot of money on that. So the man only want 200,000 worth of gas, but he put in for 700,000. What do you think he's going to do with it? The difference, the 500,000. He sells it. Who loses? The government. What we're trying to do now is to say, okay, any privilege you say you want it, but you pay for it first. When you pay for it, we put it in an escrow account. When you finish your whole project, everything, you can't do the rebate. So we'll move from duty-free to duty rebate. Now, let me ask you something. If you know you want 200,000, when I say pay for, you want 500,000, but you really need 200,000, we're going to check you right. Okay. So we have eliminated that 300 that the government was being defrauded of. These are the effort that you're going to see coming to really make sure, like she said, that we can stabilize the fiscal flow of the country, the financial flow. All right, so we're not in this kind of shock. Along with attracting, we're doing a lot of work in the business climate. Some of the issues you're raising about shipping lines are business climate issue. One of the reasons why cost of doing business in Liberia is high, it's not just because of the exchange rate, or it's because, for example, electricity. The cost of electricity is high. People are passing that electricity cost to other things. Tariff is 35 cents per kilowatt hour. It's high. In Cote d'Ivoire, it's around 10. Ghana is 12. So through the CLSG line next year, hopefully, we'll be able to get cheap power. If we can pay our 12 million fee for it, we'll pay it. Then we can bring power cheaper. And that way, that will bring down the cost of doing business in Liberia significantly. If power can come near 14 to 15 cents per kilowatt hour, people are going to feel that. All right, that's some of the things. The other thing is shipping. We've been working with the shipping lines now to hold. We launched a shipping line group managed by Emmanuel Mouine, and we've basically been holding these guys. They are reporting all their stuff, and they are complaining against what, and we're working with them. So look, the business environment cannot sustain further increases. You got to hold the line. All right? On tariff, there's a lot of issue. Look, let me say that there's a myth. Liberia is the lowest taxed in West Africa.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yes. Liberia is the lowest taxed in the entire region. Any way you flip it, tariff, corporate income tax, any way you do it, we are at the bottom, to the extent that the IMF sent a mission and they told all countries that came back to Liberia, they said, you're the lowest in the country. I said, go tell that one. The people say we're the lowest, and people are still complaining. So that's the reality. We are low taxed in tariff. Some of the issues about Guinea are because when the ship carries, the people they're charging more because the bauxite. the ship goes, and then with bauxite, and then it comes back. So they have that level. The MPA manager visited that. It's not because of the tariff rate. We are still among the lowest. In fact, most countries are migrating to the CET. We lag behind, I think, by 2 years. We just made a decision to move because ECOWAS is converging. We can't say we are Liberia, we're in the region, ECOWAS, we go to this meeting, but we can't do the thing that the other people are doing. So we made a decision that we got to go with the region. But it is not true that taxes are high in Liberia. I can show you all the analysis. You go to Cote d'Ivoire. If you were in Cote d'Ivoire, you run away. So what that means is that then we can survive anywhere else in the region other than Liberia. But the rates are already low. The rates are low. Investors, great question. The question that bothering me is that what stops Liberian capital formation? What is hindering? The president met some of you the last year at Jamaica. He threw the challenge. Like you can find 10 million for Liberians to do big things. We're looking for that proposal. Where is it? Garbage. What stops? You go to Ghana, you see Ghanaians moving. What is stopping us? Is it we don't have access to finance? We can't work together as Liberians to raise capital, to go, what is that big value chain idea? What is that big thing to say? I mean, I'll tell you a sad story. Maybe Liberians can work together. Even in education, one of my people was telling me, two best friends were collaborating on a school project. Some of you know the story now. And the family split already. The guy explained that thing to me. My heart broke. Two best friends divided because they couldn't work together on the wonderful school and they split. That's just symptomatic of who we are. Maybe we're struggling because we don't want to put capital together. The other person get 10,000, the other person get, everybody wants to prove that a big man, and we can't go anywhere. So we need to find a way. The president has instructed me, if Liberians come to you with a clear proposal, find financing, we as Minister of Finance are in the position to talk to EcoBank, LBDR, to look for guarantee structures for a fine project that coming from the diaspora here. Wait, let's put it together. Let's put it together. So you got the challenge right now. Develop a concept. Everybody wants to come to the country and work in the government. Let me tell you one story. Somebody came to me, one guy came to me from here. He brought to me a wonderfully written book on Ebola. He put a book down. I read it. You wrote a book? He said, I wrote a book, man. I said, 250 pages, 300 pages. Damn, but he's strong. I said, yeah. And he said, remember, I want you to position me somewhere. I was just disappointed. I said, you write book and you're looking for $2,000 a month job? You're supposed to come with me, Minister. I got a 10 million proposal. All I need from you is to put me in touch with UNDP, me, draw in connection with the USAID people. Let's see how I can sell this thing and I can manage this within MPhil. I thought that was the proposal. The man said, you want a job. Everybody can go in the government. The government wage is 297 million. How many persons? We're looking for Liberians to add value in agriculture. We can grow pepper. Who will be the first Liberian who will stop importation from pepper in Guinea? Who? Who among you?
Don't put my hand down.
Who? So let's throw the challenge to you. Pepper, y'all come. We're working with EcoBank. We're working with LBDR. We'll find the financing. Let somebody have the ambition and leave this place and say, I'm going to raise the biggest pepper farm in the country to stop Liberia import with the government. You got a commitment of the government. That's it. So the environment is there. But I just think that for some reason, it does not want to. It's even in the. I'm coming from the African Development Bank. There is no Liberian manager in the African Development Bank.
Founding member.
The founding member, no Liberian manager. We asked the proposal, oh, man, so for some reason, I think when Liberian made 60,000 US in America here, we have arrived. I don't know. Maybe I think because there are qualified Liberians here all over, whether it's UNDP, all over the world, Liberians are not there. Everybody either trying to get into government or we're sitting down waiting for, I don't know. We're supposed to, an army of Liberians should be applying for international jobs. We have come of age. We've had a president who is a Nobel laureate, who worked with the UN, but now we should be all over. But you don't see Liberia. You go to the places, you see only other people. Liberians are not there. We not belong there. So it's something we need to challenge ourselves. So I challenged one of the reasons why I was late, because we're having a conversation with ULA people. I told them, ULA have to go to a new generation now. The new generation in either moving Liberia to this new consensus, making us believe in ourselves, catalyzing Liberian investment to go and invest. Everybody got to leave their politics down where and release his rating. It doesn't matter. We're not looking for apologies for the government because, at the end of the day, the truth of this government will reveal itself. Right. The strength of our development will come. The President Coastal Highway, the financing line, it will take shape. Overpasses be passing to SKD Boulevard and the new complex. Gasoline Boulevard Road will be there. Agriculture money will be there. All these things, when the mayor go, some of the things that the mayor will be running election and inflation will be in double digit, you're daydreaming. The mayor will seek election on clear transformative terms because he's not sleeping. Every day he's pushing his government to work. So let's leave the politics. Let's go to investment. All right? I really hope so. So I have seen proposals. I've seen proposals. People have come. The government have been discussing this. But it's the situation again. So this is where groups like you here in America should form a consensus. Look, when they say you contribute to development, they're not true politics. It says all Liberians in America, let the dual citizenship, your sign and say the country should go to medical marijuana. Any politician who opposes that, we will campaign against that opposition. Let's see who will stop it. The advocacy power. If medical marijuana is what's going to provide to, we say, look, the people say, look, Minister, if you enclose the marijuana, it doesn't come out. We've seen it. In fact, they have containerized version. Yes. But there's clear benefit. It's only going to be exported. You can't get the people who go in, the people who come out, the security is rigid. It's almost like you go in the Pentagon, you go in. It's tough. You can't go in. But then, when you try that one, the people will go politicize it. Oh, the people come and they made the whole country. Then they see American people who have in here with Germans say, oh, but the only thing that everything can. So y'all got to form these. Somebody think y'all got to form the consensus. But the government have seen proposals. I can tell you that the debate within the government cycle is looking like moving, but it ain't get tried. Let's talk about non-Negro land ownership. Because the dual citizenship now, we're getting there, right? Yeah. What stop Africans, where people own land in Africa? Let me ask you something. Where people own land in Liberia, the country will collapse? Let me ask you something. Why is it that we are not talking about non-Negro land ownership in the country as a path to economic transformation? We can't exist on their own model. It's not possible. Ghana, the people are attracting the flows because other people can go there and buy property. Why we can't just give the people the right to own land, something? They don't have to be citizens. What's wrong with that? But where is that going? Because it's going to be politicized again. And you're seeing people from here who want development are going to be saying, oh, that the government won't make white people citizens. Oh, but scare our people. All of us have to rally around to change this country. You're not going to take one man. Number three, and I answered that question. The 16 billion said we spoke different things. Yeah. Okay, let me tell you now what we spoke. The two are here, the other men are here. So with the other justice minister, let me tell you how it happened. I didn't even know about that thing. One day I just saw a release. Okay, let me tell you how it happened. The president launched an investigation. This thing came from the president. Launching investigation into some apparent missing money, something. It was a quiet investigation because people came to me, Minister of Finance, to ask me questions. People from LACC, they came and said, what do you know? And I just answered a question, but it was just muttering, quiet kind of thing. And then a newspaper heard word about this stuff, and I have Philip Brown carry the story. And when Philip Brown carried the story, so by right, technically, all this thing would have been averted had the government just announced. So this is a media thing, what I'm telling you. At the time that investigation started, had the government just announced through a press conference that we are investigating something that we heard missing, the whole thing finished. But just because one journalist broke it before the government, so it made it look like there was something. Then the Minister of Justice, I think, wrote a release saying if money is missing, I don't know if he said 16 or something, we will prosecute those. That was the release that came up. If anything missing, we will prosecute those. The Minister of Information went on radio and said the country government printed between 15 to 16 billion, brought in 15 to 16 billion. That's what he said. Then what happened after he said that? Then the people said, oh, but then there's 16 billion missing. Then I didn't say. He said it brought in between 15 to 16. And then I, the Minister of Finance, went and said, oh, 16 billion missing. What is the inconsistency between those three statements? If Something is missing, we investigate. We brought in 15 to 16. No 16 billion. Which one of you will go to test? And they say what these three things mean, you will say 16 billion missing. Show your hair up. You fail. But the contrary was saying that the three ministers are saying three different things. The three ministers said the same thing. One of them said, if anything like that happen, we'll go. But he said, when you say if, it happened. That's opposition. The country needs to understand supposition. The other man said, well, the fact is that 15 to 16 billion came. He never passed judgment to say it was missing. Somebody put more and more and say, oh, but then if he says so, then the other got missing. And even the other man who clearly, the man who laid a clear basis said nothing missing, people didn't want to hear because they wanted something to be missing. So I came out and said, no money missing, no 16 billion missing. He said, yeah, they said, y'all arrest Samuel too. Yeah, they said, arrest the man. Yeah, I saw that post. So what does the country want? It's that nothing should be factual. People should just be in a state. The country should just be in turmoil. When ministers are providing evidence, yeah. So that's the reality. So, I mean, just stay with that fact. No 16 billion missing. All of the reports, even when Crow came out, Crow clearly stated. But still, you can still hear people talking about references, right? To that. It's unfair to the country. I mean, the question of who goes to the government. Look, the president has thrown out the invitation. We need to bring all Liberians back. He's thrown out that. When you met him, he talked about the way the whole thing about 10 million people coming. You know what that is? The way they contribute to the country is not only to come into the government. So the idea that everybody has to sit down, the challenge we're facing now is not a question of somebody in Ministry of Finance, somebody in Ministry of Agriculture. No. The challenge is that a banker is sitting down on 10 million, but he can't release the money to go to the agriculture sector. He needs a credible proposal from an investor, something to see. Clear fundamentals, and he said, okay, I'm confident I can get that money. Who MBAs you are talking about, develop that proposal. We, the government, will guarantee it. But the notion that everybody has to come be an advisor in the government can't take it. It's not possible. Let's move Liberians into the private sector. Look, the president will make changes, people will come, there will be new appointments. He always people in America, CDC, USA people, someone will come, they will take jobs. That's fine. That's his decision. I'm not the president. He decides when we can advise black. At the end of the day, people can't be going and say, unless I become an assistant minister, my only contribution to that country, I will never give it because that's the only way I want. No, change it. Come back and say, okay, I will go through the garbage, the design for the garbage, and I will design it. And then when everybody see it, they say, but if you can do this thing, then why don't you come and invest in this? I'll do this one. All right? So it's not. I mean, Emmanuel Shaw question about, these are Liberians who are not on anything. They have a right to work in the government. So we should stop the practice of demonizing other people when we don't have evidence. The fact that somebody will associate with a past regime and say you are banished and you should associate with no further regime is not fair to them. Okay? We should give all Liberians a chance. The only question you have is that what contribution is each Liberian making currently? People should not be judged because they're associated with a previous regime. That's collective guilt. That's wrong. Even if they did something that we believe were wrong, and if they're not doing that thing again, the matter is that are they doing or not doing that stuff? I think that's where it has to be. Okay. Yeah.
No, it's fine. But you ain't getting back
We go with the next
no indictment.
All right, so I'll take Mr. Collins. All the journalists because they're working, so we gotta give them an opportunity.
The de-dollarization.
The de-dollarization,
Yeah.
national political
Mr. Collins, the journalists, because they can't keep recording and don't have to
the duties that you pay.
So that's
So
one,
you answer him. So
three,
you
four,
handle the one that comes with de-dollarization.
and 5.
You answer.
Yeah, because you hired him earlier before one to
You didn't talk to this guy.
No, you hired him up before one to the
The
next.
one
Which one?
Okay, we'll come back to you
when
another
they
please.
expect
Yeah, the next
That's a
one.
fundamental question there.
Yes, a
But
fundamental
I will wrap that
So,
one. That's my concluding question.
Minister,
That's my concluding.
we will come to the next 5.
Yeah.
Mr. Talib first, please, 1 minute.
This question is fundamental, but you conclude. You not answer now. You go on.
So this is the mark.
Say where the direction will be.
Mr. Minister and members of the platform, guests.
We are recording, please.
Oh, I'm okay.
Yeah.
You see, you guys are doing all the best that you can do. I mean, from what I see from your disposition, I see that you guys are doing well. But your dissemination of information seems to be a problem. And I think the Ministry of Information and even indeed the President need to get out of Monrovia and get to our people and begin to explain his policies, his procedure, and where he wishes to take the country. Because failure to do that, as the brother alluded to, people will form opinions, and those opinions will be detrimental to our survival. And one of the issues that I see, a lot of people, when somebody coughs, will get in the street. What are we doing to discourage Liberians to stop just demonstration? I mean, democracy doesn't mean lawlessness. It means the exchange of views and what have you. And sometimes you might agree to disagree, as we say in Tottenham. Okay, so I come from my Tottenham issue. Baku. So I'm saying, government, you are doing well, but your well will not be good enough when our people are not informed. The president needs to take a nationwide tour immediately and start to educate our people on things that he wants to do. The people love him, but he has not reached out to the people. So they are forming all kinds of opinions. And Mr. Toure, I want to thank you. I actually was elected president of the Liberian Association here in the States.
Wow.
I have a certificate here for you because of your contribution to our effort in Tottenham High. We want to make sure, some of us, Mr. Dennis can tell you, we've been to the produce.
So you can't be using my name to go over 1 minute.
Okay. I'm sorry, but we are working on a lot of things. The ambassador can tell you.
Okay.
One person will believe that when Liberia succeeds, we all succeed.
We all succeed.
And it takes all of us. You don't have to be Fran, Mandingo. We are Liberian first and foremost. So we need to work together. I thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so we start with the, Stone, you got it.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, platform guests. Minister 12, part of the reason why we found out we Liberia don't work together. When you ask a simple question, who is here to write an agricultural project? I raised my hand, you saw the gentleman knock my hand down. I was dismissed. Instantly, I was dismissed. All because he doesn't know what I have any play on that, I was dismissed. So that's part of the problem. I have one question in 3 parts for the ambassador, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, and you as a finance minister. Hey, my question goes like this. There's something, you are economist, I'm not, I'm a telecommunication professional. And capital flight in Liberia, somebody can take a container from here, 2-3 container, go to Monrovia, sell, make $1,000 and get walk away. The bank don't see it. The government don't benefit. The government only benefit from the tariff he pay at the port, and that's it. He sells the good, walk away. Collect all the US dollar he can, and walk away. How do you put in mechanism to stop that so the government also can benefit, so that the banking sector also will have some sort of functionality?
Great question.
Another question that I have is that it goes to the possible circumstances here. We in the diaspora, including myself, are victimized by the passport process. So we pay $205 if you pay online from here. It takes 30 days for you to receive passport. If you have an emergency circumstances, you will get a laissez passer, which is $85 on a regular fee. Instant service is $150. You pay that money, you go to Monrovia with your receipt, they look in your face and say, we do not recognize your receipt from Washington, D.C. And you have to pay additional money to get your passport. My sister passed away. I was forced to go, and I went to bury my sister. I needed to pay that extra money, and I did pay. I got my Liberian passport. The third thing here is that with the agriculture project, you ask a simple question. Who are winning? I grew up in the Ivory Coast, and I used to buy and sell cocoa for 6 years. And I understand corn products, corn. 9 different products can be generated out of corn. It takes you 4 to 6 months to harvest a corn. Once it is planted in the ground, to the time it gets grown and dry on the stick, and it dry corn seed. It costs about $3.50 right now in the world market, the market index price. Now, we are waiting to plant. I have land in Liberia. I'm not going to beg anybody for land.
Okay.
But as you said, where do we direct our proposal that will grant us the loan? And another project that I have is to collect garbage in Liberia, especially Monrovia. Good. Thank you.
That's great. Let's go. Okay, Claire.
Can we have a quiet, please? Mr. Brian.
Good evening, everyone.
Can we have a quiet, please?
Good evening, everyone. I'm Liberian Jones, one of the young professionals Liberian in the diaspora. I've worked in pharmaceutical 10 plus years. One of those currently I haven't worked in the States because I've invested in Liberia. I've invested in Liberia, but basically we are 6 Liberians. I've invested $30,000. Just us, without any network with government, we have invested. There are difficulties Liberians face within Liberia that are just willing to come in with their money. I don't have to know anyone.
Sure.
Just have to go through the process. The process of investing in Liberia, just in the government, it is difficult. There is no policy written. There is no procedure written in every ministry that you go to that you can get a document and say, this is how you do, this is where you do, how you do your business. For example, if I want to open up a business register, if I want to register my business, there is nothing written that tells me this is how it costs to run a business. This is how it costs to register a business in Liberia. I don't have to know the business register person. I don't have to know anyone. I should walk there as a Liberian or even as a foreign person, get your procedure and go home and do my work and come back and bring my document to you. I shouldn't know. So what are the government doing to put in place to help us who don't want to bribe anyone to do business? Because I did it. I went through that process without bribing anyone. I came back to the States, I haven't got it. There's 2 companies I want to register. I haven't gotten another one registered yet. The paper, just to get the paper back from them, I haven't gotten it yet. And it's an agriculture project. 6 Liberians, so Liberians can work together. Because I'm a living witness. I got 6 Liberians that spent $30,000 in Liberia. And I have 7 Liberians that spent $20,000 in Liberia in agriculture. We don't know anyone. That even though we know them, but I choose not to go to them, but to just do it. But that process is difficult. What are you guys doing, one, to make it easier for us? We can invest without knowing anyone. Good.
Okay. My question is very simple. Hopefully I can put this one to the rest of the team up here. My name is Melish. I travel to Liberia every year, December. I have a very good business, the wedding industry. So I travel, I get clients from the country that, invite me to go to do the weddings. This year seemed to be the year that most of my customers are worried. Let me give you the reason why. The country has seen several protests, and we're hearing of another one coming up in December, around the 30th. The issue here is, most of the customers now are saying, we wish we didn't pay you. We didn't advance you money. In fact, usually I would have bought my ticket by now. I haven't. Many other people are also telling me we cannot travel in December because of this issue of what could potentially happen and put us at risk, as also those that are in the country. I'm not sure how the information ministry is going about allaying the fears and the worries of those of us who are intending to visit the country in the coming months or weeks. So I think maybe a better understanding of what we could expect or what the ministry is able to do that can allay our fears or our worries so that we can travel or continue to travel to the country back and forth. And as a result of this, it has even crippled our desire to move forward with establishing a radio station and going through the process of getting this happen because we're afraid that anything could potentially happen. So that's my question. What is the ministry doing to allay the fears of the people?
Good question, though. Very serious question.
Okay, that's the set of 5.
Yeah, I want to say thank you for.
Who will be recording your picture?
Oh, yeah, I'm recording for Liberian television network. This goes to Eugene Amway.
Let me be recording you now. While you're
recording by empty truck.
Okay. We actually got the invite this morning on Facebook. We were looking on Facebook this morning, and we saw the flyer saying you guys were coming to town. And this is a constant habit in Philadelphia. We notice that whenever government officials come in, we don't have the opportunity to see them. It's either late, but it's like 2 minutes or 3 minutes, then they are here. The room you're looking in here today, this is not even a handful of Liberians in Philadelphia or Pennsylvania. You're coming here. Everybody wants to be here to ask a question. So the abrupt announcement deny everybody their opportunity to ask the question or to at least get some clarity on exactly what's going on in Liberia. I hear you guys talking about the screen, the force, people just not giving, they're not seeing the evidence, and you just speculate. So if you have the invite early, and we'll be able to publicize it, let everybody know in the Liberian community, not only in the Liberian community, but we are also connected to elected officials in the American side, different communities here. So if we have the opportunity, you guys can come early, we can have some interviews, people can call in, they can ask and know that you guys are in town, we'll make enough publicity, and even get a bigger hall than this, so you can have more attention and a lot of best ideas that you can take out of the country. Sure. So we had a program today. Unfortunately, we had to cancel it just to make sure we're here.
Thank you.
So, I mean, we're here, and Mr. Dennis was so nice to us, and he told us that I think he sent a listing already, and we were not included in the list because they didn't know. So,
what a man explaining all this.
You know what? I'll have a question. You know, this man, in a way, he's reporting the news, but he's still reporting me.
No. Let me say one thing before you continue. Mr. Eugene Amway, I hear people talking about business registration and all of that. Fortunately for us, we have a 6-man team in Liberia. We've been working so hard. Just what the guy was saying, it's been very difficult to get our business registration and everything. But finally, it's gone. And the information we got last week was our documents laying on your table. And all we need is for you to sign it. That's what we got. So if you go to Liberia and you see the Liberian Radio and Television Network, paper is on your desk. If we are not broadcasting in Liberia, you the one who is.
Well, the way you cover the program, I will sound quick.
All right. Thank you for the comment. But before the panelists answer, I think personally that certain things are unfair to the leadership of our country. And what is unfair is that people spew out what is not true. Like I was watching a video, one of the talk show hosts held up articles of incorporation and said the government has signed an agreement. So, knowing what I know, there's a difference between an agreement and articles of incorporation. So when I went into this, our regular street debate, and somebody was so strong to tell me that there's no difference. So, and I couldn't tell you the difference of my understanding based on my training, and you just guessing as to there's no difference. But so I said, look, I think what can happen, much injury is being done to the administration in our country by misinformation and disinformation. So I will take upon myself, whenever these officials are in town, to at least take us some time to provide explanations. And fortunately, Minister Wilson was here. He had his town hall. Everybody went loaded. When he got through explaining, everybody started making suggestions. So when Minister 12 was about to come, he called me briefly, but we did not go into details. So when Minister Nambe called me on Friday, I thought the opportunity was right. So everybody on Woodland on the football field that I could see blood streaming through their eyes, everybody was sitting there laughing. So if the information is out there, the people will choose between facts and fiction. So my brother, I really got to begin this planning process as of Friday.
No, that's not on you. I'm just
No, sorry. But I will again, at the end of the occasion, appeal to our government officials. We're not asking them to travel from Liberia to just come answer questions. No. But while they are here, at least make available 1 or 2 hours. Because there are many things out there that are not true. And some of us, even though we are friends with you, but we are not easily believable because we're not in the business of doing government business. So all we can do is to link you to our people, and our people will listen to you. So that's why it is. We can go back to the house.
I'd like to speak to one thing first. The honorable man who indicated that he has a group that wants to go to Liberia and now afraid about what's going to happen in December. Yes, you know, we had an investment forum sometime in September. Since that forum, my office has been inundated with calls and visits from people who want to go into Liberia to invest. They have a similar plan. Everyone is concerned that people come onto the streets, they destroy business. We're planning another demonstration, so nobody wants to go. That's precisely why we are saying that we need to keep that country peaceful. Because if it is not peaceful, if it is not stable, you will not go there. And if you're not going, we expect to go. Nobody's going to go. That's why we encourage you now, we urge you not to support those people who want to destabilize our country, who want to come on the streets every day and protest. We're depending on you not to support it. Now, on the question of the passport, this is the first time I hear that I've received from the editor is not honored anymore. It's the first time. There's no evidence. So, if there's any evidence to that, I want to have that evidence so that I can engage with you. Yes, please. If you have that evidence, somebody. In fact, I want the name of the person who told you that they cannot accept a receipt from the embassy, not just the receipt. I want the name of the person who told you that.
When I paid the money, my passport came from the pocket of a senior government official.
All right. We have a process by which passports are issued here. You know, the passports are not in DC, they're in Liberia. You go on the website, you fill out your form, you go to the embassy, you do the biometrics, and we send for the passport. The passport do come. Sometimes it takes time, especially a couple of months ago, we have issued the passports. They were delayed, but passports will come. So to say that somebody is rejecting your receipt in Monrovia, that is very far from the truth. I've never heard that before. If there's evidence for that, we want to know. Yes, we issued emergency travel documents, which we call a lesser passive when you don't have a passport. For example, you come to us for a passport, the passport is not ready, and you have an emergency, so you want to go home, and we issue that. And the fees are there. Even in obtaining the passport or even a visa. If you want to obtain a visa on the same day, you pay a special fee for that. You want it the next day, you pay a special fee. So those are on the books. We all know. That's not different. Thank you.
Let me just comment briefly on what the ambassador just said. And what we seek to do in Monrovia, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, is to ensure that your travel document passes what we refer to as the integrity test. A lot of you may have heard that there was a scandal in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in the Passport Division. And let me just give you a gist of the problem. And so at least some of you will appreciate the extra efforts that we are making in order to make sure that when you obtain a travel document, there's also a security document that we want to make sure that it's you who's on that particular passport. There were a group of foreigners. I want to be very clear because this is a town hall and I'm speaking authoritatively on this matter. There were a group of foreigners, there were Nigerians, there were Ghanaians who had assumed Liberian names. They were on payroll, they were the most diligent workers. They were going to work early and leave late, but they were handling our travel documents. You understand the threat? So when they were busted, the Minister of Foreign Affairs mandated us to invite the Nigerian ambassador, which we did, and We had a discussion with the Nigerian ambassador. We had a discussion also with the Ghanaian. And let me tell you this, because it's public information. We went to the church. I would not call it church name because I don't want to be seen as trying to, denigrate the house of God. We went to the church to arrest one of the culprits, a foreigner, a Nigerian, who took that person's name. The Ghanaian guy fled. And so we invited, as we normally do, we share information. When your passport situation is compromised, we want to make sure that the information is also disseminated to your partners so they can be on alert, because we don't know the purposes and intent for which that action was carried out. And then we raise the issue with them. Today, we have an OIC. The legal department is handling that. And at the level of Ministry of Foreign Affairs, there's absolutely no one that is coming forth to put their hands up to assume that role at the other passport. Now, the president will have to make the appointment. But we want to make sure that if you went to an embassy and you presented your travel document, let us be the one to validate that travel document and say, look, this is where we are. This is this person. We preempted some of our development partners because they were at the verge of stopping the issuance of visa. So we did a diplomatic note in order to invite them to assist us in order to handle the situation. So maybe there will be a delay because we want to make sure that we cleanse the system so that when you have integrity tests passed. So when you have your passport, you also can be very proud that it is you on that passport. But another issue that we'll talk about briefly, that those of us in the foreign ministry, when you denigrate your country, you call it all sorts of names. But yet you come up now at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to obtain a passport. And then you travel to a foreign land. You want to be treated differently. You want to be treated with respect. And the minister just raised that issue. We've had a problem. So when they call, oh, look, the people push us one side and they're giving us extras in it. Of course, the people read what you wrote. So as we go about this discussion, I hope at the end of the day, let us know that our actions and our statements, have repercussions for us internationally. Because there is something called international prestige and morale of the nation, and are one of the sources of national power. And we know that. So I just want to advise as we go along, we will do our best. And in that specific case, let me join the ambassador to say, if you can prove that situation, then we will address it, and then we'll apologize to you formally. I just want to thank you all for the opportunity.
Yeah, okay, awesome. There were a few, can I use it? A few, thank you very much. There were a few issues directed towards me, and he wants us to allay the fears of potential visitors to Liberia. The government, we have to look at the fundamentals to tackle the problems. And then by so doing, we'll have a better environment. We have a democratic system in Liberia, so we are caught between our dual duties, the duty to preserve the peace, which is a duty that rests upon the government, and also a duty to protect civil liberties of Liberians who want to peacefully exercise their right to have a demonstration, Our admonition to all of these people is that there are other avenues for expression of your voice, your democratic rights, because there is a tendency a lot of times for these public protests to spill over into violence and destruction of property. So that is the thin line that we all have to toe as Liberians. So as a government, apart from physical security, we also have to engage the population, engage the public, and get them to understand that demonstration is not the only way your voice can be heard. Because we have seen of recent, the last action by the students changed from a demonstration into a mini riot, where stones were thrown, properties were destroyed, and this is something that the government cannot accept, and we cannot relent on that our responsibility to protect the peace. Because I think it is the paramount duty of the government to ensure that the peace is maintained. Because if there is no peace, we can have no development, we can even have no democracy, because democracy cannot thrive in the midst of violence. So the assurance we have is that as a government, the issues that are being raised of late has been about the hard steps, the hard austere measures that we have to take as a government to straighten our budget process. These are problems, are historical problems, but it is the responsibility of the government to deal with those problems. The delay in pay is not because the government has money sitting somewhere and we don't want to pay people. The only way we can allow the government to function is to utilize the revenue that's collected. So we are working very hard on these delays, and the minister has assured the public severally that we will come up to current with the pay system in the coming months, in the next couple of months, so that pay can be current. And some of the problems with the pay situation is also technical. You want to pay people now. Like he said, we have too much discretionary power in the pay system. Before this harmonization process, every minister had the right to determine the pay of every employee of his at the ministry. So I can look at you, say, JJ, you in blue suit, maybe your pay will be $1,000. And somebody on the same tier with you will get $100. It was arbitrary and totally at the discretion of the ministers. That's not the best practice in paying people. So these are some of the things we are harmonizing. There were other employees that didn't have any bank accounts. So what's going to happen? Our comptroller going to grab money and people come and receive cash. Now, all government employees, your monies will be directly deposited into your account, so that there's no transaction between the minister or the comptroller. Directly from after the payroll is approved, your pay goes directly into your account. Some people, they now have a US dollar account. So there were several teething issues that we had to deal with. Some of those caused the delay, apart from the fact that there is a financial squeeze in the country right now. So our assurance is to continue to expound, to inform the public, because I'm not one of those who believe that Liberians are gullible. Because after a while, they see through the lies that, people are saying these things, they are not realistic, they are not true, and then they support us and they understand the current situation that we are in. Also, about your radio station, I hardly allow documents to lay on my desk. But before I go to your particular situation, there is a website, because people keep saying to register a business is difficult. There has been an ease of doing business committee setup. And we have removed a lot of the barriers months down the road. So now you can stay right there in America and at least almost complete your business registration process. Yeah. Just go online, fill in the form, a response comes to you to register a business. Yeah. Now there will be other licenses and other instruments that you will need after registering your business. For example, you want a mining license. There are additional procedures. Also online at the Ministry of Mines and Energy. So the Liberian Business Registry, just check online. There's a form. You fill in the form. A response comes to you almost immediately. And then if you met all of the requirements, which are not stringent requirements, your business gets registered. So there's no interaction between you and the people. So you go online, you do the registry, at least you initiate the process, and then when the approvals come, I see you shaking your head. But let me just call the website, and anybody can verify what I'm saying. Nobody. In the office, no, Mr. Name, I'm saying stay here and check.
We're not having a dialogue here.
No, but let me call www.lbr.gov. But there is it. So just try it. You don't have to go to no office. Going to office will complicate your life. So start the process online, lbr.gov.lr.
You interact with it, straight you get
it. Yes. So it completes the process by now. There will be requirement for approval because there are categories of businesses. If you are non-Liberian, there are separate requirements for a Liberian business than for yours. So we're not saying that the problem is totally seamless. We're saying that we have made inroads in resolving some of the tricky problems. So now you don't have to fill up you can do it online even while you are still there in the US. And I just called the website. You can test it. Anybody can check it and see whether it can work. And also even in the customs area, we are trying to remove discretion. And the best way to do it is to automate some of these things and to get them to be digital. But if I, as a custom officer, have to interact with you and determine based on how you look before I appraise your goods, without removing these things. And if even the LRA now has automated most of the processes, there's still work to be done. Yeah, destination inspection, all of these things are being automated. It's a process. We've made some inroads. We have to do it more, because if you have that sort of predictability that you are talking about, what do I need to do? Go on the NIC website again, www.lnic.gov.lr. It tells you all of the requirements that you need to follow to invest in Liberia. So, we have to test the new systems that we are putting into place and see whether they will work as effectively. Where they don't work, we can go and make the necessary corrections. So, even at my ministry, he said he has his newspaper license. If the requirements are met, I don't have to be there. I electronically sign your document and send it to you, because sometimes I travel. I don't have to physically be in Monrovia to sign your paper. One of the issues, because I check online every time, that you had was that we require that apart from registering in Liberia, you have a physical presence. And our team went to inspect. The first time it wasn't there, then they inspected. They just emailed me that it was done. Not just tonight, 2 days ago. So I tracked these things myself. So you just wanted to register. No way for people to interact with you, because there is a condition as a media entity. What if there is a need for somebody in the public who feels aggrieved to interact with you? If you are just a media entity here in America, you have to domesticate your registration in Liberia. So I have an electronic desk. I don't have to be there for it to be signed. So thank you. And we want more competent, because I follow you a lot. We need more. You use a lot of good technology that Liberians can benefit from. So I was happy when I saw that you are trying to take your business home. So even myself, personally too, the people make sure that you check them if they meet the requirements fast. So that desk you're talking about, the desk in my phone now, I can sign it right here. But thanks a lot. And I just want to add very quickly that we have not come here to sugarcoat anything. No. The country is going through a lot of tough times, like the minister said. We have been working hard over time. Today, I said here, the past week, all of the meetings at the IMF and the World Bank has been geared towards that. We did not expect to conclude some of the agreements. Just 2 days ago, the minister signed about a total of $45 million financing instruments for 2 major road corridors. One is the road connecting Banga to Konya, from Konya to Vonjima. Because initially the project was just from Banga to Konya. But now we have additional financing. In fact, the financing has been completed with this new $25 million from OFIT. So that was signed after a lot of negotiations and conditions, because these people read about our country. They say, but we don't even think you can handle this. Look at what we see online. You've taken 16 billion, you've done this. We have to convince them. They finally agree, we signed that, which will help. We're talking about agriculture. If the road from Banga to Lovada is impossible for 7 months of the 12-month year, how can a farmer who plant, what good will it be for me as a farmer to plant rice when I know the rice will get rotten because I have no way to take it to market? The fruit and vegetable, our bread basket loafer, it's not because the loafer people got lazy all of a sudden, but it's because they can't even transport the goods. Now we also have another project with USAID that they are funding through some innovative instruments, a big rice mill in Lufa. In fact, it will be the biggest that we've ever had in the country. In fact, right now they are encouraging farmers to plant more so that the mill can be utilized to its fullest capacity. Some things are happening in Liberia. That's the point I wanted to make. It is not all doom and gloom. We are looking at next year as the year of the big infrastructure projects. Somebody say just started, all the news. The whole of this year we spent looking for money for these projects. The coastal highway, somebody say it was a mirage. How can it be? Because while people were making noise and demonstrating, the Deputy Minister of Finance signed a $50 million instrument for the coastal highway to start. So we have the feasibility study for that road. We have the initial design, which was funded and done by the European Union. Now we have $50 million to start. That's progress. So it's not, no mirage has $50 million around it. No mirage. The EU, if they thought it wasn't a feasible project, the EU would not have funded the initial design. So we have that in hand. We have the feasibility in hand, and now we have the first tranche of funding, which is 50 million. It's not all that is sufficient to do the road, but it's a good beginning to do the first lot in between Sino and Grand Crew. That's progress, and the president still continues to engage so that people can give us financing. The road to connect the southeast from Ganta to Tapita, which is around $100 million. Funding for that already secured. Procurement has gone far, is well advanced. In 2020, actual works will start on the road so that we can, instead of every year, as we used to do, we spend money, the Ministry of Finance will spend millions on rehabilitating a gravel road every year. So it was wasted money. The president said, no need to keep doing that. Why don't we finance through this new process we call CCRAM, where the government of Liberia will put some money into a pool fund, and our partners, including the government of the US, the World Bank, the IMF, the government of Great Britain and Ireland, Canada, under what we call the LRTF, the Liberia Reconstruction Trust Fund. All the monies are put into one part. The government also contributes, and then we allow the World Bank to do the procurement exercise because we want additional transparency. So nobody will say, oh, the government just chose somebody who was not a good contractor. We follow international best practice. The procurement is advanced, and the whole idea is to connect up to the southeast, up to Fishtown. Realize now that the African Development Bank is already paving the road from Hopper to Fishtown. So this other CCRAM road will meet them at some point. What we have funding for is for the first lot from Ganta to Tapita, and the work will start in 2020. So to say nothing's happening with all that is going on, it is not true. And when these activities start to happen, the economy doesn't generate itself without push from outside. When there are activities, construction happening in the country, it changes the foreign exchange dynamics. You know, it brings in needed foreign exchange reserves, and it helps the reserves. So we agree, the opposition, you must do your job to keep the government's feet to the fire. But if the idea is to stifle the state so that there's no activity through demonstration, through mass actions, it is unacceptable, and the government will not agree to disturb the peace. We use all of our persuasive powers and all of the instruments available to us under the law to ensure that we have a functioning country and a peaceful country. Somebody asked for Bali Island. Okay, somebody said that Bali Island.
Okay, there's some other questions.
Yeah, let me just run over that quickly. Yes, the money is the most important part. Next month, Minister Finlay is expected to sign $144 million instrument also, along with the Minister of Finance, for the road construction, 12th Street or 14th Street, wherever the engineers decide, to Garnersville. So 80% of the work is finding the money. 20% is to actually do what's necessary. So most of these things are lined up, and don't listen to me. Just follow the reality. You know, see what will happen next year. If it doesn't happen, we're still here to be criticized and to be brought to book. Yeah. So thanks a lot.
All right. No, there are some other important questions that we haven't answered yet. Let me run. Let me run through quickly here. Okay, somebody asked about Liberian dollar only. Yeah. So actually, that's the policy. That where we're going. Yeah, what can do that? It's not easy to just overnight say, oh, you know, other countries have done that. Argentina, it didn't work well. Where everybody go to bed in the night and say, okay, every US dollar in the banking sector will be turned to peso tomorrow morning. Yeah, that doesn't work. So we say, don't shock in all the system. Just increase confidence in the use of the Liberian dollar through measures. For example, the government is going to be rolling out a lot of measures. People should be paying for travel license in Liberian dollars. Driver license. I mean, we have to increase the demand for Liberian dollars. If people are demanding Liberian dollars, then the value, of course, will go up. Yeah. But if, you know, so you have to make people say, okay, pay for your passport in Liberian dollars. Yeah. Then they will have to change US dollar to get Liberian dollar and go and pay. So some of these measures will be there to strengthen. But at the end of the day, this is why we move from 80-20 to 65-35.
And we have a quiet please.
Gradually, we start paying in Liberia. So where do we expect to see Liberia over the next 4 years as Minister of Finance? I think he just answered some of that question. the fundamentals of changing a country takes time. You lay the foundation. A lot of the things are planning. Roadworks take time, processes. We're on a path of a lot of business climate reform, the whole business registration thing. We set up a business climate working group that is working. We're waiting for the next World Bank report. It's going to be coming up, I understand, in February, where we're going to see how we've done. The country used to be better, and then it declined. Number of days to take register, I think dropped. We were better, then we dropped to 14, 15 days. Now we are back to 6 days. Our goal, so everything is not everything is not rosy. Maybe our goal should be why we don't get this thing that you're talking about, which is the optimal thing. Let's get to where Rwanda is. Rwanda is way better than we are doing on that one. But that's it. This website is not where we want to go. There is procurement for a massive online process. A portal. That's going on with CEDAW funded program. That's coming. Okay? But we made some progress. With all the minimal effort, we've made some progress. We are going to get to where you want us to get. But what I like about you also is that it enables us to check. Because when every time the people come for money, I'm saying, are you sure we have 6 days? I still hear people complaining when they go to the business registry. So it also allows us to put you under pressure. Okay, so we'll go back in with feedback and say, well, some people are still complaining to continue checking the system. But there have been some massive improvement in that direction. So in 4 years, you will see that, look, with the IMF program, the idea is to stabilize the macroeconomy, bring inflation down to, we're not able to get to single digit. We will get from the 20s, come down the teens, and continue to come with tight monetary, and again, be honest with you, to bring it down, things got to be tight. When money is scarce, when people can find, then inflation will be forced to come down. And so some of that. So you see some tightness, but then it will, things will get. And then with infrastructure, with the big push we're doing, agriculture, working with the bank, finding money to invest in the food crops, rice. Because, look at the Chinese, cassava. What do we do with cassava? The whole China has a big market for cassava. We got land. The other issue with land also, there are some challenges there. We have a World Bank project on rolling out the land law. The law says the land is owned by people. If people are holding land, okay, we're giving them title to that. How can people invest in those lands? Take Sami Dabi. You know why Sami Dabi is folding? Anybody know why Sami Dabi wants to leave? Of course.
They have not gotten enough land.
Okay, so why have they not gotten enough land? Why why as a country, and this may have to partly answer some of that question, why would we allow an investor 10 years ago to come to a country, put 100 million, 200 million, and not give that investor the land they wanted? To the extent that the people came to meet the ministry, the president was there, and said, okay, so the land challenge here now, okay, we the new government now. We won't give you any land they want. We say, minister, you should have done it 5 years ago. Yeah. I said, okay, the president will give you any land you want. We'll just go and bulldoze again, or we'll work with the community. They say, no, it's late. 5 years ago. We call those legacy issues. All right? Investment that happened 5 years ago that we should be riding, benefiting from now, is hurting us. At a time when we also are facing recession. So even the past is even haunting us. Yeah. So, but all of that will turn around. It takes time, 2-3 years. The confidence will come back, and I expect growth in 4 years' time. Growth will be around 3%, 5%. That's the medium-term outlook we have. Capital flight is a very wonderful question he asked. We have a financial system that is loose. Money is outside the bank. Now, let me say, money outside the bank. Let me say this. Money has always been outside the bank in Liberia. That's a fact. That fact, the public doesn't know that. The experts like us, we know it. In 2012, 85% of the Liberian dollar money supply was outside the bank. Only 15% of the Liberian dollar in circulation were in the bank. 85, that's 2012. This is how many years ago? 7 years ago. 85% were outside. You know why you were not talking about money outside at that time? Because you have plenty of US dollar. So all that US dollar has done for us here is to just hide our dirty clothes there. By the time the US dollar disappeared, we started seeing all the dirty clothes there. Everybody says, oh, I find, you know, as soon as you put a little, you see all the roaches. So these things were hidden. Today, 93%, 91% also, from 85% to 91%, that's 7% movement. Even if the volume increased, the idea is that we have not had a serious monetary policy framework on the level. The banks are not interested in the Liberian dollar. They are only interested in the US dollar. This is why. So the framework we're having is to incentivize, I don't want to say force, to make people to develop interest in the Liberian dollar so they can move into the bank. One of the things that happen in that country is that you go to, for example, you know, a businessman, let's say a Fuller man, you give him 10,000 US dollars, and he goes, you say, go to China, you will get your good. And you go to China and you get it. That 10,000 doesn't go in the bank. Where does it go? It goes across, right? That's a form of capital flight. Value has left the country, and the money didn't go through the financial system. Probably didn't pay the right taxes. So at the economic management team level,
I just want to know, I'm sorry.
No, at the economic management team level, we wrestle with all these questions. One smart thing that's coming out, which we'll have the financial people put into motion. If anybody pay for anything to be brought into the country and they cannot show receipt that money that paid for that thing passed through the financial system, they will not clear it through the port. Or they will pay a heavy tax to clear it through the port. What do you think about that? Okay, right? So we say, if you get a Fuller man $20,000 US to bring something in for China, when that thing comes and you don't show that it was LBDI that money was transferred through, or Echo Bank or some financial system, that 20,000 will not be like you will have to overpay. Now somebody will say, oh, some of that will say, oh, they're too expensive to bring things like that. But no, you see it? So those are things. So what we're saying is that we want people to use the banking system. We're thinking about that because it's a leakage. It's a massive leakage out. We're working on that to stop that. Where do you direct project ideas? I think that's a good thing. Where do you direct project? We've been talking about that. You know, we have the National Investment Commission. We have the Ministry of Finance. I think we need a project portal. Because they're investment ideas, so we can work with experts and people. Let's establish. Look, the engagement with, like I said that with the ULB, people here and us, I don't think it's defined. There is a diaspora office, but again, I don't think it's working. Because every time we come to annual meeting, then we engage. There has to be a formal way, a more structured way of engaging with interests here overseas that is institutionalized. I think we need to think better about that. So it's not just this thing when we come, we talk, then we'll go back. So maybe ULA from the conversation today and what's coming out of here, Ministry of Foreign Affairs here, maybe we can set up a small working team. You know, I told the ULA people we can set up a WhatsApp group. I want to be on it. This is someone running the government a lot about WhatsApp. Small things, small ideas, we follow it through. Whether it's EITI, we're making tremendous progress on. You heard about EITI thing? We set up a group. We're changing that story. So we can use the digital space to communicate in a way that we're not physical. All right? So maybe we need to do that. Let's understand how we can engage with you here on the ideas you have. The last time I was here, I talked to an IT professional. I say information technology is revolutionary. It's changing. How do we get Liberians? How do we get your ideas? How do you contribute? But it's that interface that's missing. I'm a Minister of Finance. So let's help the ministry. Let's use your expertise to put a portal, and let's work together and say, this is how we want to engage you. All right? We'll do that. I think the minister answered the question on online question. Yeah. Online? What is that one again?
About the money.
What do you want to say? How were the printing of the new money in the... Well, okay, a printing of new money?
And what measure to ensure that it's not misused?
Okay, so look, let's say this again also. You know, we are very difficult people. The only thing a central bank does, that call it a central bank, the only reason why a central bank is a central bank, you know why?
You can print money.
You can what? Print money. If a central bank not print money, they're not central bank. So let's decide today to make a commercial bank, not central bank. If you don't want a central bank to print money, then Liberia does not have a central bank. Simple. Because central banks print money. That's all. So let's say Liberia might not get central bank. Then we can say, but you can't say Liberia might have central bank. Then because of the the politics and why, yeah, there are legitimate governance concerns within the central bank. That's fine. Let's separate those governance concerns from the lies. So we established that no 16 billion missing. We have also found that there are weaknesses within the bank and that these weaknesses are historic. For example, the 25 million mop up, right? That's another thing that people can lie about. The central bank have always been mopping money. 2014, 2015, they've been mopping. So mopping means that you do a direct approach. Take the Liberian dollar from outside and bring it in the bank and put the US dollar out. That's it. So to increase the confidence and increase the value of the Liberian dollar. Central bank have always been doing that. There are two ways. You do it through auction, a normal auction, or you do it directly. And that's standard repertoire at the central bank. That's what they do. Minister Bwana Kamara was there. I think your research department on the Mills Jones. I can show you evidence in the central bank reports of mop-up. It's a standard thing. It was never politicized.
It shouldn't be.
It should not be. But under George, we are aware, even you go buy tissue, that politics, right? It will be politicized. So the whole central bank now has become politicized. So we're undermining the credibility of the bank. Normal functions. Yeah, are there central bank staff who could do things? I mean, the central bank people investigate the order will find that. But to even link central bank processes to presidential level, I think how do you do that? The central bank is way there. The president ain't got the people government to even link the minister of finance into central bank operation. And that's where all the confusion is. The economic management team is a cabinet. The cabinet doesn't run anything. When last does the cabinet run anything in the country, Eugene? The cabinet is a talking house where ministers sit around the table and where they look at policies and then they go back to the ministries. When you take all the economic people from that cabinet and put them in one room, we call it the economic management team. How can they do money operation? How can they go raise revenue? They discuss ideas. So if the EMT convenes and the CBR come and say, look, the rate is moving too fast, we have three options. That's CBR coming to EMTO. Let the EMT sit down here. CBR experts come and make presentation. We have three options, Minister. I'm the chair. One option, we use the commercial banks. We have always used the commercial banks. But the downside of that option is that using the commercial bank means you're not taking money from outside. So you essentially giving US dollar to them to import, but your goal of bringing the money outside is not going to be met. Now who talking? The experts. Our expertise shows that it's not going to have the impact. The other option we have is our traditional method. We did direct mopping before, but we took the money and put it back. So we're not in a position to say the reason why we think it didn't have impact is because we put the money back. But if we directly mop and don't put the money back, you will see the impact. Options coming from central bank to the economic management team. Then the team takes the debate. I'm an economist, Professor Tapper there. We disagree, we validate, we look at the option, we ask the questions. Who are you going to do with? Look, the central bank is the bank that is managing risk, financial risk in the country. They look to EcoBank and say, you are now worth to be a bank, or LBDI. They do all that stuff. They handle money. Nobody on the EMT will doubt their integrity or their capacity because these people are handling the country's money. It's not our business to go tell them how to do their work. They have safeguards. And somebody is saying, oh, the economic management was supposed to audit this. That's not our job. We're a cabinet. We don't go at the operational level. They do their work, and they did that work, all right? And we saw the impact on the exchange rate dropping back from 163 to 150 when the 2.3 billion was sterilized. That's it. How do you go and say, okay, well, 25 million missing when 25 million were not even used? I don't know how you get there. Because the total amount used over there was around, I think, 17 million. But you don't hear that 17. What do you stay here? Yeah. And that 2 million went to Total. So that 15 million. And half of that 15 million, happened right in the building of the central bank, meaning people brought Liberian dollar inside the central bank. Nobody went outside. There was a team sitting and people brought the Liberian dollar in. So the only money you're talking about here that the bulk handle outside, that around 7 million. So if anything happened to that 7 million that comes out, 5 things, they're not even the whole 7 million. So you can see how everybody just jump and leave all that details and say, oh, my man, 25 million, the poor divided the money. It's unfair. It's unfair. It's unfair to me. It's unfair to the country. So on the cost of printing new money, no, I think that cost, the committee has been discussing that. Even the amount, I think they have the final say in what happens. But let me tell you this, the country will have to get some new money. The money is molded, it's old, there's no way. Between December now, the demand for Liberian dollar is going to be around 8 billion Liberian dollar. So we are not able to meet demand for that Liberian dollar. That's it. We're not able. The fastest way to get that demand right now, the fastest way to get that demand is to allow Crane to print. That's it. Well, look, the conversation about Crane is coming. Technically, let's say this. Crane had a legitimate contract to print money and deliver it into the country. Crane, technically, did what they had to do. So I don't know to what extent we say you go out, because Crane printed what you did, what happened over there. I don't know how you deal with Crane, because Crane deal, like I said, go get Eugene money, $50. I gave you the money to bring it to Eugene. I finished my contract, gone. Then you just say, oh, but he went to his other sister playing with the Eugene, but half other one, inside. So technically, you can look at Crane and say, well, yeah, the way we're looking at, I've said to the Clement that maybe because of the controversy, Crane, but when you look at them, technically, they did what they had to do. So if we need 9 billion, if we need 2 billion right now, the person you want to go to is a Crane. You already have a contract. These people, approve, say, look, we have an emergency, let Crane primo. But that would then mean that you're not going to change the money. You're going to just keep the Crane money in circulation now. Right? That one option there. You say, want that. Okay, you don't get that one, then you have to if you don't get that one, then you have to change the whole thing. But the other person, no, you want that one. I went to Treasury. And person, our options are not good. Either way, we're in a tight situation. But at the situation we're in, we got to do something. We got to do something. So the cost of that will depend on how much we print. So maybe 35 billion, 25 billion, they will approve 20 billion, whatever, the cost will depend. But yeah, and so it's not set in 35, but it depends on them. Yeah.
They make questions on the customs.
No, don't seek your privilege.
I would give it to the man to answer the question.
There is one question that was asked previously, and it's important for us to go back to it. The one that concerns the cost of clearing things from the port. Again, the minister was right when he said across the sub-region, in fact, in the entire Africa, we've got the lowest in terms of tariff. But this is the issue, and I was confronted with this when I came some 6 years ago when I was Customs Commissioner in the same Philadelphia to discuss the issue. One of the issues that we have got is that a lot of us who do send things to Liberia, we do not know the customs law.
Yeah.
It's a difficult thing if you don't know what to pay and you are dependent on brokers. When I was Customs Commissioner, I had to suspend license of many custom brokers because I realized that those who send on your behalf, they will deceive you to the extent that they will tell you should even pay for IPDs. At that point in time, they were charging people $250. It's because you did not know. So one of the things I will advise you to do firstly is to understand what the code says as far as the tariff are concerned when you are sending things to Liberia. A second thing we need to do, in most cases, we pay more because we've already delayed. Take for example, you send your things to Liberia, you don't start to process your papers until the container has landed. And then you start. At that time, you're already in default. Because at APM terminal, you've got between 5 and 7. It was 7 days before. Now it's around 5 days. They are even considering bringing it to 3 days. So another thing I will advise you is that as soon as you have the alert that your things are about to reach Liberia, you start the fundamental process of going through BVAC to ensure that those things, as soon as they are there, your papers are ready. If you don't do those, when you get into demurrage, then you pay penalties again. You pay demurrage at the port, and if you don't clear on time at customs, you pay penalties. It becomes cumbersome. So it's very possible that 11,000 you're talking about, you should have actually paid but maybe 5,000 or 6,000. Yeah. But because of the delays and having people who are cheats working on your behalf, you resort to paying more. I just thought to give that clarification.
Sure. That's a reality.
And, thank you. I also want to clarify the minister's statement. Please hold on. The minister is not saying that Crane did not do anything wrong. I hope you're getting your answer straight. Yeah. He said because Crane has an existing contract, government will still do business with them. That has nothing to do with the case against Crane. Because I don't want people going to say, oh, Mr. Justice, that case, then Mr. Finance said they didn't get case. Let's be clear with that. All right, so we take.
Yeah, but remember our team.
We got a hold on. We have a contractual obligation here.
Yeah.
We were actually supposed to be here till 9:30. You're all certified. Yeah. And to go beyond 9:30, after looking at the minister, they have some obligation.
Yeah, don't worry. That go late. We go clean late. Yeah.
But before we take the 5, we have 2 of our Liberian brothers here who are running for office. Yes. So I'll give each of them, they are having an event on Saturday at the Mantique restaurant on Marshall Road and Long Lake intersection. So I know politicians, when they say 2 minutes, they want more time. Just 2 minutes. Where are they?
Yeah.
No, that's communication. When they're not gentlemen, 2 minutes.
Oh, careful. Everybody will tell you
No, we actually came to well, first of all, my name is Joe Ardon. I'm a young man in the community right here, live in Liberian County. I'm here with my partner and my brother, we didn't come here to talk politics to you guys. We came to, we have an event this Saturday coming up at 6 p.m., 6 to 8 p.m. Opportunity for the Liberian and African community, the immigrant community in general, to meet with the candidates, the Democratic candidates. We're not supporting any Republicans here, but we have a meet and greet with the Democratic candidates. I'm not getting into politics. But we have a meet and greet with the Democratic candidates for Delaware County Council.
So my brother was saying, again, my name is Sadiq Kamara. Just to say a couple of things. We need, even though we're talking about Liberia and everything, we're also here. We're also citizens here. So we need to also be engaged in politics and local politics here. That's really, really important. As for me, I was the first African police officer in Delaware County, and the only Muslim police officer in the whole entire Delaware County. So me and my brother right here, we're trying to get you guys also involved because we need a seat at the table here. So we decided to have a meet and greet these politicians because they want to know about our culture. You know, Southwest alone is an immigrant population. So I hope you guys be there. It's going to be on 7881 Marshall Road. That's in Upper Darby. And it's going to be from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. You guys can meet our local officials that's going to be coming there. So we really hope you guys are there. Me and my brother, we have a big vision, and we need everybody's support, including everybody here, because you guys are our mentor. You guys lead the way, and we want to also be engaged. So thank you guys for having us here.
Thank you. The address one time, I didn't see anybody write this down. Can you please write this down? We really want you guys to be there. Longley and Marshall, 7185. Yeah, please come out, and thank you guys for your support. Thank you.
All right, so come out there. All right, so we have Mr. Ade, Mr. DJ. Yeah, you hired him up earlier. Okay, you, fine. You.
Very important for the
That's it. People, we have to go. And the national has to travel all the way to DC.
Establish it. What is making music?
Gentlemen, we have your thanks. Ladies and gentlemen, please.
Oh, yeah, I thought about incentive exemption.
Mr. Minister and the rest of the delegation, Agape International Outreach Ministry wants to thank you for your presence as we serve as your host, bridging the divide between politics and government and state. All right, so we're pleased to have you. The question we have for you out there is that, let's see.
Yeah, we got to wrap it up.
The sooner we can leave, it will not cost us anything. But the later we leave, it will cost us. And we have your attention. Here's the question. My ministry spends $3,000 every month in taking young girls off the streets in Monrovia, recognizing that government can't do everything for the people. However, when we ship things home, the challenges are quite expensive for ministries who are relying on the support of Liberian ministers or other members of the congregation. What is government doing to help churches ease the cost of getting supplies to Liberians who truly need it on the ground? Thank you.
Who's the next person? Dennis, we're getting tired. Better wrap up on a high. Yeah.
These are the last set of questions. Can we please pay attention? We should be leaving.
Mr. Minister, first of all, I don't want to say thanks to everybody for coming. JJ. Chicago, I got the information that you guys were coming. At the start of one of the airport and I flew back to Pennsylvania because of this. When I got there, I kicked around to the country. You guys, now you are a little bit frustrated. But I've been sitting here quietly. I wanted you to answer all the questions. But it's not going to tell you things for answering all the questions. The answer you gave to most of the questions I came about today, I enjoyed that and loved it. Coming here is not easy.
That's correct.
Some of us, I don't know you personally, but some of us are connected. For me, I'm connected with them. 85% of the people that in government today, I'm connected with them.
Okay.
By the time I was born, I never had anybody in the government. That's why I protect the government, because most of the guys that I know that in government, I respect them, and then I know their character. But what I want to say, the answer he gave to, I always call them a position. Because the problem I call them a position because I think everybody have opponent. When soccer player, you be a soccer player, we have opponent, now our enemy. But when I realized on Facebook that we cannot have a discussion or a talk, so I left Facebook and decided to do a cooking show. I sit down with you, small politics in it. Right? Be cooking. But I just want to tell you guys, thank you for coming here today. To the minister of the UK, it is very important. They might not working. You working? Yeah, okay. I want you, Mr. Minister, what you guys just did, it will help us in the election to come. If you guys have to go from village to villages in Liberia, those that can speak better or Basa, because the people are going to vote, the voting town kind of people are going to vote. Most of our year, we already in America, we not vote. We can't talk. But those who are asking questions.
Me play important role.
I just want to say thanks for coming. One of the last thing I want to say before I leave, I want to go back to each of the ministries. We got both of our brothers here from the past government. They were taking salary while they live here. The ghost, I want to back to them. The ghost salary Flores State also, I want a minister, I want to go from ministry to ministry to make sure that all the clothes that lay there with us,
they don't go by in the grave.
They don't go by in the grave. Some of them go by in the grave. Some of them go by in the grave. That's the reason they are still the negative. They are still taking power with the minister. So I want to
that goes go by in the grave.
Please, can we have a fight with somebody? Mr. Ministers, I want to say thank you for coming. I really appreciate you guys coming here to answer some very questions I've got. All right. My first question has something to do with security. I go to Liberia nearly every year. 2 times now I've been to Liberia, and I see dead body on the street that lays there for almost a week. 2 times I have been to on the pipeline and on Johnsonville. One body lie down there for almost a week. Okay, and that's the road I travel on every day to go see my dad, because I just took my dad back home. And the second to Mr. Ambassador, I came from Indiana. Please, can we have our seats? Please let respect the speaker. I will start calling names. May we have our seat, please?
Let's move fast.
I drove from Indiana to come to Washington to get my dad's passport. We paid for the biometric, only to be told to go back to Liberia because I was taking him back home because he's sick. I took my dad back home, only to be told that we already paid for him, but we got to come back to the state to get him. My dad is in Liberia right now with his passport. Okay? And the second thing with regarding your department, I drove from here to New York to get, first of all, I had a form for Washington. Because a friend of mine and myself were in New York, so I decided to get my visa in New York. When I went there, they told me that the United States Washington form. I know I was going to Liberia. I was not going to Washington. So, can you do some work about that? All right? And the second, the third thing, I want to say thank you, Mr. Minister, Information Minister, for telling me that the road to Lofa County is being worked on right now, because it was my burning experience, because I just came from there in April. I know the top line I took together. And there's another thing that has always been said, like I always say, I say, Liberia is the only country that's giving more hard time. I don't know for what reason. Liberia is the only country that is giving more hard time. So, we say, Liberia is the only country with the security situation. Please, you guys, we do come to Liberia often. Thank you very much.
We've been long class.
Wrap it up, Edwin. Wrap it up. We're useless now.
Yeah, man. The last.
Mistake on the road. Edwin, wrap it up because nobody pay attention. After that, man.
First of all, I want to make 2 comments. First, the 2 comments is about partnership. Our first and most interesting Liberia should be security, safety. But lecture will not solve that problem. And the reason why I say lecture won't solve the problem is because I'm 54 years old. I've been around for a good while. I'm not a politician. I don't have no intention to work in any political office. I'm a businessman. But I also become a political being because if politicians don't protect my interests, obviously I'll become political. And let me just be very clear to you guys right now, because we are all kind of boys in this house. Liberia will not be stable. And Marcus, Liberia will not be stable if we don't recognize our first partners in progress. And Liberia's first partner in progress are the people you see in this house here. Whether they in Liberia or they in the diaspora, Liberia will not be stable. If you can recall, when Madam Salif came to power in 2006, she recognized Liberia to be the 16th county of Liberia.
When I came to the States, I realized it is true that this country is the 16th country of Liberia. Because most of the people that are surviving in Liberia are surviving from the Equatorial house here. When I came, I had an opportunity to venture into a new venture. Yeah, Mr. Dennis, give me 1 minute. No, so when I migrated to the States in 2010, I saw something that the Liberians, all the guys were into exporting to Liberia. I sorry the Customs Commissioner is not here because we have some interaction. For me, I interact. I don't just talk because I want to talk. I interact, I engage. Mr. Dennis, please give me a chance. I'm the last speaker. So what I'm saying here is, in order for that country to be stable, we first of all have to recognize these people in this house. Because if we don't do it, no matter how hard you guys work in Liberia, you will always be lecturing us. All the time we spend here today lecturing, trust me, we will be sitting down and discussing how we can put people into clusters. You understand what I'm saying? To go into some of the things you're talking about. Okay. And because I say I've been around for a long time, politicians will just come and just blah, 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 whatever street talk, the blathering, and by the time you leave, we all get back on the fence again with anger. Because it is painful to see us as crowd boys. Then when you get into government, then you forget about those you left behind. And why am I saying this? I will start feeling some kind of way when I see my brother 12, who and myself were just hustling yesterday, riding $50,000 car and doing this and doing that, and I stay struggling. Because we expect you when you ascend to power, we expect you to remember where you came from and try to see how you can prepare us who left behind. We say give it to us free, but the environment. Now, most of the things you guys are talking about, I'm aware of it. I served as Secretary General for the Liberian Business Association in Liberia, 2007 to 2009. So I have a vast experience because I work with the International Finance Corporation, setting up all these frameworks, making sure that businesses are registered in a certain period of time, making sure information is disseminated. They have huge billboards all over the place. But because corruption is in our blood, by the time the people turn their back, they took all the information down. So that's why you see these people in here, they're asking how to register business, how to do it. We shouldn't be asking, because if you set the basic, they set the framework in place where all the information was available. But because the guys at the top want the guys down to be hustling, my voice is loud enough here. So they refuse, they remove all these information. And, I mean, when we take it for fun, but this is where our problem lies. There is no
I want to say thanks for you guys coming over here to Philadelphia, USA. Actually, standing before you here, I'm Wilson T. Yana, President, Chairman, CEO, Yana Company. So I've been operating for the past government until going through this other government, until going through the next government, until going through the government to come from the future. Because why? We are business people. We don't speak politics, but we speak the reality. You know, I think when we business people, we believe is complain solve no problem. What can you do to budget the government effort? This is why someone may be discussing, this is what I came here for. And then I also want to ask, because the minister, you guys here, you representing the government. I want to ask a few questions. My first question is, I want to know what the government, maybe people not ask that question because we believe in hope. What the government has done within a transitional period. One. Two, the second question is, what the government intends to do within the next 5 years to at least to encourage us as a business people to keep our import and export running. And then, where can we, like the finance minister said, one thing that bothering the country, we're talking about finance situation. Yes, finance situation come because we don't import, but we don't export. We know the vessel that bring our goods to Liberia and ship every month. More than 15, 20 containers to Liberia, but that vessel go back empty. So we got some partners that are always approaching us. Look, man, you always take it to your country. What do you have in your country that we can also work together to budget the government efforts? So, Honorable Minister, we saw something in the country.
that we can export out of the country apart from our mineral, because I know our mineral, you can't take away our log, our iron ore and bauxite, other things. But some things in the country that our other partners need from different countries, that at least when we bring our goods, we can load the container go back. Like for example, the coal, the charcoal. I went after the charcoal. I still get a person, the charcoal got a bond on the same 1960, I was never born. But then I want you guys to look at that charcoal because to look for that bond. Because the charcoal issue that is one of our things that I keep can get business flowing forward. So I'm only trying to say this, that as a businessman, you must always, if you're not taking risks, it means a risky. So you must take risks to try another business. My last question is to the minister. What everybody in this space here, we are citizens. What do you need us to do to budget government effort? Thank you very much.
All right, so this is the last question, and then we leave. Good, this one.
All right, thank you very much for the opportunity. I just want to say, Honorable Minister Eugene, Honorable Samuel Twist, welcome to Philadelphia and the rest of the panel. My question is not actually a question, but it's just, people are giving a lot of questions, but nobody have actually come up here to tell you guys what you guys are doing right. And that started from yesterday. I listened to you, Honorable Minister Eugene, yesterday on Talking LRB, and that was absolutely fantastically well done. So with information dissemination is very, very important. It helped with the economic aspect. It helped with pretty much everything that have to do with the government and governing. So that was well done yesterday. And I just want to know what have been some of the mechanisms that got put in place to help information that is disseminated is properly coordinated through all branches of government. Because if we follow the two-step flow theory in communication, information comes from opinion leader. So we expect the Ministry of Information to be our opinion leader. And when information is coming down, it's actually coming down with all effort from all of the ministry in that coordinated effort being disseminated into the public. So thank you so very much for coming. And
thank you. All right, so the last one. All right, quickly, thank you. My name is Doc Shire for the Esoteric. Quickly, I'd like to say kudos to the government of Liberia, the officials here. My daughter, she benefited from the WAX program. So I think the government, the signature program of the We As Life administration that I like is the education program. So my question is, given the financial difficulties that you have highlighted, with which the government is grappling, do you think the free education program is sustainable? And what is the expected longevity of the program? Number two, this is the elephant in the room too. I think nobody has mentioned it. It has to do with the closing down of Costa Station. So my question is, what message are you sending as it relates to press freedom and freedom of speech in general in the country? And then the next question I have, I think it goes to the Minister of Information. I listened to you one time and you spoke of human trafficking or sex trafficking. I want to speak to that issue. I think it was alarming when I listened to you. And the last one, I think we have a lawmaker or former lawmaker here. There's a senator from my county sponsored a bill to make rape available in the country, and the girls are vulnerable in the country. So I don't know what you guys are doing in regard to decapitating that bill if you like.
Yeah, but ain't gonna know.
Thank you very much. So we're not going to.
No, rape is an unbelievable offense. Yeah. But he won't change it to make it believable. It is. Somebody is proposing that we change that.
Okay, so yeah, let's just we've been very brief answers now. Okay, somebody had written me about revenue measures. Technically, we have to ramp up our effort on collecting revenue, and we are doing that. I explained earlier about freeze on incentives. We are rationalizing our incentive regime. We've given incentives to some companies, but we don't see the corresponding benefits in the economy. And so they don't deserve to continue to enjoy those incentives. So we're going to look back. I talk about the new exemption programs. All of these are under the domestic remobilization strategy. Real estate. Real estate today, we are budgeting around 5 million. In that whole country, we're collecting only 5 million real estate. That's a joke. The LRA did a study just in Cinco area, one side, and they believe that we can collect 2.5 million just from that place. But now we have in the budget 5 million for the whole country. They're not feasible. There is a massive real estate push that's coming. I mentioned earlier about construction permits. So there's a lot of revenue effort. We're trying to expand the base, all right, to push more revenue. So you can rest assured, we're closing leakages. The government is clamping down. We've seen LRAs doing a lot of investigation. We've got a lot of financial intelligence about what's been happening in the country. Anybody walking to Liberia and tell you, say, 480 million tax money in the economy, they tell you, say, you lie. They're not true. But to get it to 520, 530 requires some effort and some serious coordination. So the authority is doing that work. Somebody said the question of girls off the street. I think too. Well, I mean, yeah, it's an exemplary work when you support getting girls off the streets. Liberia has to do a little bit more, for example, on girls' education. All right. So the evidence is showing that girls entering school from first grade and dropping out by sixth grade, it's around 58%. So 58% of the girls who enter fall off by six. That's a serious problem. And so we're looking at that data, and and these are the kind of problems that we want to be solving. Somebody said education is where we've seen some gains under Minister Soni, right? Before, when we came, 3 persons passed out of 30,000 human beings. Only 3 passed math and English. 3 passed math and English. Last year, 400 passed. That's progress. All right? In terms of one subject, we doubled the passing rate from 30% to 69%. One subject. So that tells you that when the government invests in education, which this president is serious about, you can make that gain. So if churches are helping us to do this, we will encourage them. The country has duty-free privileges for religious organizations and all of that. I mean, I don't know your personal situation, but there's a general rule around churches and things, non-profits, on all of that. Take advantage of that.
Hello.
Pick up your shoe before you get struck by the thunders.
Sorry.
You are in the house of Mawu Patopa Osogolisa. There is no fear. So my son, what can I do for you today in my shrine?
I know plenty. I want for them to be arrested. I want for them to go to jail. I want for them to be deported. I want for plenty bad things to happen to them. I want to hear bad news when they want to get out in the morning.
Hey. Hey. If I'm on the beat, yeah, 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 yeah. T12 on the beat. If you want hear my bad news, you and I, yeah, oh, yeah, oh, yeah. If you want hear my bad news, you and I, yeah, oh, yeah, oh, mama. God forbid, Baba thing. God forbid, Baba thing. God forbid, Baba thing, yeah. Baba thing, yeah. God forbid, Baba thing. God forbid, Baba thing. God you don't want to see me, you must close your eyes. Ready the best. If you don't want to see me, you must close your eyes. But say, oh mama, enemies of progress, they don't want to see you shine. See you shine, mama. Enemies of progress, they don't want to see you prosper. Prosper, yeah. They want to see you die, then I want to see you shine. They want to see you cry, then I want to see you smile. So negative, no more positive. Every day I did it, which cry I did it. So negative, no more positive. Every day I did it, which cry I did it. If you want hear my bad news, you and I, yeah. If you want hear my bad news, you and I, yeah, mama. God forbid, Baba thing. God forbid, Baba thing. God forbid, Baba thing, yeah. Baba thing, yeah. God forbid, Baba thing. God forbid, Baba thing.